Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So we've done 2 videos already, one of them going over the elite specializations, which I believe needed a little bit more work, the second one going over specifically the Catalyst and the Untamed, and now for this third one I'm going to basically summarize the elite specs that I really enjoyed, and then talk a little bit about the Siege Turtle, as we gotta just round out this Beta 4 experience. So when it comes to the elite specializations that I enjoyed, these would be Vindicator, Bladesworn, Spectre, and Mechanist. And I don't really have that many suggestions, so I'm just gonna go one by one and give my honest reaction to them. So for Vindicator I actually really enjoyed, and it was so much better than its previous beta. The change to the utility skills, where you can now flip-flop over to the other one, was really important to give this spec its fluidity and its control that it needed. So honestly, love Vindicator. I actually could see myself maining Vindicator for some time. The only thing I'll say is the middle trait line, the one that gives endurance or vigor, it's a little boring. I think Aang Sion's Trust could be something else, as I think Song of Arboreum is just so much stronger than it. I don't know, I think it needs a little bit more interest for that middle line. Next up, Bladesworn. Bladesworn I actually really enjoyed the first time around, so I didn't really recommend that many changes. I thought it could be put into the game almost immediately, and it was a lot of fun. So when it comes to this beta, they just gave it some more love by making it to where it charges faster, which is really good. So you don't have to sit in there for 5 seconds. I think 2.5 seconds is the perfect amount. It's still a decent dedication for a fairly large hit. The only thing I'll say is I haven't tested it in PvP, so I don't know if they up the damage or not. But Bladesworn was, once again, a lot of fun and really solid. Okay, I'll say this. Boots, World of Enders, has convinced me through our multiple talks that I do think the Bladesworn is deserving of keeping their first Adrenaline Burst ability, their F1 skill, on whichever weapon set they're actually using, and then have the F2 be the gun saber for them to then swap into the gun saber. It's just a minor touch. They might still be thinking about it. I'm not exactly sure, but it's something that I was convinced of recently. Next, we have the Spectre. Spectre, I mean, I'm a huge Spectre fan. I'm a huge fan of seeing more single target abilities in Guild Wars 2. I believe they already have a list of single target skills and healing abilities that they might be implementing retroactively to other existing skills. So I really hope to see this further development of healing builds and how healers play in Guild Wars 2. I think it could be a great way to balance a lot of the healing problems and also give more skill to healers, so you're not just like doing massive area of effect heals where you just gotta minorly aim and you're just like boom, it's done. Of course it wouldn't get rid of those aimed skill shot heals, but I think it's just another thing to add to the roster of combat to Guild Wars 2. As for the targeting, there were some improvements, and I think they worked a lot better in action camera. I still think they could definitely do a second pass of action camera and how ally targeting works. Sometimes if you held down your auto attack, it wouldn't actually register and trigger on an ally, so that was a little bit weird. I still think the swap to different ally targeting on the hotkey, I don't think it should select minions or clones or player AI pets. I still don't think that should happen. It still did. I think there should be a separate key to select friendly AI or select friendly pets. I think that would be much better. And then additionally, I still think that there could be some more customization with the UI. As a general note, changing your squad positioning and your party frames would be lovely. Being able to change around where your boons and conditions lie, and also being able to shift around where your buffs and boosters are, because like those aren't really pertinent information in combat, so I really would just love to hide them in most situations. And then finally, Mechanist. Didn't play a whole lot of Mechanist, but it was really good. It was still decently strong. They did nerf the pet. here and there, so it's not doing as much damage, but honestly, it's still pulling some weight. I think they could maybe put a little bit more power back into it, but additionally, I just want to say that I was extremely happy to see that they reduced the cooldown to 50 seconds. It's a lot better. I still wouldn't mind them going down to 40 seconds, as like it's still a decent cooldown, and mechanists are just generally less impactful when the mech isn't on the field. And I have a fear that with time, and especially when End of Dragons releases, players are going to see the mech and just burst it down and then swap to the mechanist and say, okay, now I know that they're pretty much really weak and useless, so we'll just go after the NG, the mechanist. So I think having it down to 40 seconds, particularly in PvP and World vs. World scenarios, would be good. But yeah, that was all the elite specs, from the Vindicator to the Bladesworn to the Spectre to the Mechanist. I thought they were all really strong. Those were probably the better ones out of the whole entire bunch, in my opinion, in terms of like having a solid class design, having a solid sense of gameplay, having a solid sense of role in the actual combat of Guild Wars 2. So yeah, really happy. You know, Vindicator is that melee strike damage, allowing you to also do a healing build, which I think I needed to try a little bit more. Bladesworn's that very bursty upfront damage. Spectre, ranged healer, barrier applicator, and then also Mechanist is a little bit of that. You could do Connie power or boon support / barrier uptime on the Mechanist mech. So that was all of the elite specs. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Siege Turtle. Me oh my, the Siege Turtle was a lot of fun. It is definitely a wonderful introduction into the roster of mounts. It feels very distinct from the other mounts. Roller Beetle, it's a little bit like the Roller Beetle, but just much slower in terms of response time. You can't really like drift or anything with the Siege Turtle. It definitely has a large turn radius. And then as for the gunner seats, the cannons were a nice touch. They felt good. They had lots of range. There was more interaction with the speed and how you generate your shells. There was a nice overdrive button that the co-pilot could do. The only thing I will say is that it seems like they've missed out on opportunities. Let me preface this. What I'm about to say could be iterated on in future mastery tracks, but there is a sense that like they kind of missed out on adding more to the shells and the ammunition that you can use. Because I know we have like the jade shells that do damage and burning, but like what about like an amber shell or like a geode shell that like does a bunch of different multiple conditions, that like does vulnerability and blind and cripple or something along those lines. I would love to see some more shells and more different ammunitions added maybe in the next Living World after End of Dragons releases to just build off of the Siege Turtle a little bit more. But honestly, it was very enjoyable to use. The last thing I'll say about the Siege Turtle is that in underwater areas, it needs to be faster. It has to at least build some momentum underwater. I like that it is very slow and it has that roleplay factor. But aside from the roleplay factor, it takes so long to maneuver underwater. Maybe in situations, if they ever bring it to World vs. World, that slowness is fine. In open world PvE, it is very slow doing anything. And also, the slammability on the turtle for the driver doesn't work underwater. Like, it's not gonna happen, Mary. I think what it should be is when this Siege Turtle slams, it should create a bubble around it to deal some damage. And my friend Smudgem had a wonderful idea of if you use the Siege Turtle above the surface of the water and then you start slamming down, as you're descending down below while you're using your engage attack, you'll actually pull down any enemies that are caught under the Siege Turtle, under the weight of the Siege Turtle, and like doing a little extra CC and damage to them. I think that would be a lovely touch to the Siege Turtle, and great idea, Smudgem. Shout out to Smudgem. But that is basically Beta 4. That is the wrap-up video to the Beta 4 experience that I had. If you'd like to go check out the other videos, they are currently up and live. But I overall really enjoyed these elite specs. The Siege Turtle was a lovely addition. I can't wait to test out the other masteries that come with the Siege Turtle to feel how it's like to play in a more complete package. So everyone, comment below your thoughts about the elite specs that I commented on below. Comment your thoughts about the Siege Turtle as well. Did you prefer driving? Did you prefer shooting the cannons? Did you like the look of it? Are you excited for more skins for the Siege Turtle? I want to know. like, comment, share, subscribe for more videos. If you'd like to help support the channel more directly, I have a Patreon down below where you get early access to videos, get a link to my Discord channel, and you also get to recommend videos that you'd like to see for the month. So everyone, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye everyone!